In this segment, we're going to deal with another ancient concept of the drum, which is the drum as communication tool, is the call and response tradition. I'd be lying if I said I knew exactly where the call and response, the tradition in the drum comes from, but let's just say this. You're talking to someone, you're saying things like, hey, what's up? What have you been up to? And the person is going to do what? Go, like, no, they're going to respond. I mean, if they're not like have social issues, which I have strangely run into a lot of people in my life. I almost like attract people with social issues, and then I start thinking to myself, maybe I have social issues, and then I'm like, I do have social issues. But anyway, the point is usually it's going to be something like, hey, that's a cool shirt. Is that yellow? Canary yellow? Why would you ever wear a color like that? Or something. That's where the social issue would come in with me, is I would say something that I don't find, I would be legitimately wondering why anyone would wear canary yellow or any pastel for that reason. And I don't even care if you're trying to do some sort of chromatic, deep in the heart of Brooklyn, ironic 80s, blah, 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 blah. The fact is bad is bad. Shitty is shitty. Like, for instance, right now I'm questioning the Memphis design movement of the early 80s because I just think it's just offensive to the eye completely. It's almost like some of that late 80s Frank Stella paintings as well. But anyway, the point is you see somebody wearing a pastel, and you're like, God, I mean, how far will we take this, like, sort of purposely ugly? Anyway, they're going to say back to you, I'm like, hey, man, cool shirt. Thanks, Dave. I got this at the handmade, pressed from the cotton that they found at inside logs, petrified logs, in the bottom of the Great Salt Lake, and there's a little company there, they're making straight edge punk shirts with like, like Fugazi on there or something like that. The point is thanks, Dave. That's a response. That is what call and response is. There's no difference for when then I'm on the drum. And in no town that celebrated this shit, Nolens. That's New Orleans, which is, of course, named after Orléans, the French town of little renown. They don't have the Super Bowl in Orléans, you know what I mean? They have it in New Orleans. You want to know why? Because of the prostitution availability and essentially the really fetish-driven and dark sexual chasms of the nightlife of New Orleans. That's why the Super Bowl is there, if you don't. Now, what I like to do to make it a little more avant-garde, gosh, that's starting to hurt my hand. What I like to do to make it a little more avant-garde, if you notice, a lot of the phrases were similar. So this would be a conversation you'd be having possibly about an uncomplicated subject, like, this is a conversation you'd probably be having about an uncomplicated subject, like whether or not, TSA agents have higher than an 8th grade education. So let's take it a little more avant-garde. Let's make the conversation, like I'll show you an example again of that's somebody discussing something they have in common, okay? This is the common call and response, they call it. Okay, that's clearly a conversation about Oh, I like celery. You like celery? Yeah, celery is great. It crunches. I like putting peanut butter on it. The riff keeps going. I like putting raisins on top of the peanut butter, and then it's called ants on a log. Ants on a log. Ants on a log. I like it. Ants on a log. I love it. Ants on a log. I like it. Now, here's a conversation describing celery with peanut butter and raisins with someone who doesn't like it, which is hard to imagine because that is a motherfucker of a treat. And it can be healthy if you look out for peanut butters that are higher in sugar. And don't be fooled by these natural peanut butters that have evaporated cane juice. I love that. That is my favorite fucking Whole Foods bullshit. Evaporated cane juice. Oh, no sugar. Are you a fucking troglodyte? You don't know that evaporated cane juice is a fucking high glycemic index sweetener? God, you'd have to be a fucking really fucking stupid motherfucker not to know that. Okay, but anyway, if let's say no sugar, no sweetener peanut butter, because the raisins take care of the sweetness on the ants on the log. You don't need to double up the sweet. That's like having a peanut butter parfait and drinking a fucking cherry Coke with it. Why would you do that? Besides the fact that you're... See? And, all right, so here we go. You ready? A more complicated conversation. People probably in a form of discord over the fact that ants on a log is a great treat, or the other person that you're conversing with doesn't think so. Hence tension, hence the avant-garde. Hence going against the flow. Duchamp ring a bell? All right. Dada art movement ring a bell? They weren't like, hey, you fucking idiot painters, you guys think you know it? Here, try this one on for size. A turlet bowl. Ants on a log is a cool treat because you don't